Hello everyone. I would like to present my paper in the first International Online Systemic Functional Linguistics Interest Group Conference from 16 to 19 November 2021. My presentation is about grammar metaphor as information packaging in the mass media. I am Phạm Duc from International University, Vietnam National University, Ho Chi Minh City. My presentation has 5 parts: the introduction, the literature review, methodology, results and discussion, and conclusion. First, the introduction. My paper aimed at the investigation of grammar metaphor through the use of normalization as information packaging in news texts. The information structure has focus, theme or topic, and givenness, and their complementary notions of rhyme or common, background, and newness. The content of this paper was chiefly about the use of normalization as grammar metaphor in information packaging in the structure of the text, and thematic progression with the categories at the text level, which is macro theme, the subcategories at the paragraph level, which is theme, and the lexeme, which is micro theme. As for the literature review section, first I would like to talk about register and thematic progression. Information packaging is a process of conveying information into the context of discourse through linguistic means, according to Valdivie and Ingdell, 1996. Information packaging can be defined as subdivision of information structure, according to Holiday, 1967, and comprises notions like topic, focus, comment, background, theme, frame, rhyme, as cited in Smith 2007. The function of information packaging is related to interaction, which is described in the following table. As we can see, this is the relationship between interaction pattern, meta function, and register, adapted from Martin 1992. According to Martin 1992, method of development is departure of a text, while point is the destination. If theme is the speaker's view of things, new is the destination that speaker takes the listener to. Hypertheme is feel, which is the content of a spoken or written text, and hypernew is what a listener has learned. If macrotheme is their way in, then macronew is where they have been. In other words, a text can be compared to a trip in which the method of development can be considered as the route taken, while poet explains why interlocutors went regarding their experiences of the world. Method of development works out the plan, and point is carrying out the plan. Meanwhile, model responsibility helps accommodate interlocutor, making ongoing assessment of meaning. According to Holiday, 1985, theme and dream formation is the clause. In the clause is writer-speaker oriented. That is, the theme is what the writer-speaker is expressing. Given new structure, a listener-oriented synonym is news to the listener. Therefore, theme and new interact with discourse semantics in various ways. The contrast is chiefly in the range meanings hardwired to theme and new interaction. The focus of themes is on interlocutors involved in the anecdote. whereas the focus of the news is on the telling of the story. Therefore, themes reflect the genre of a text, and news elaborate the field to be developed in the experiential terms. The second thing is discourse analysis of news text. The text orientation of discourse influences all systems at the level of discourse semantics, negotiation, identification, conjunction, and ideation. New texts are a form of monologue in which the discourse focuses on the information structure, and so in terms of interpersonal meta function, different communication channels connect the writer and the reader. This is a non-contact in writing and reading. New texts are a type of text in which language reconstructs what has happened. According to Heidegger's categorization of the choices open to writer-speaker into potential and actual, according to Akin 2004, Halliday 1978, page 40. The potential consists of the meaningful choices open to the language user to convey simultaneously three meaning potential, which are three meta functions. The first one is the ideational. It presents human experience as content. The second is interpersonal. It interacts human relationships. And the third one, the sexual functions, how text is created and how it relates to itself, cohesion, and to the context of use, coherence. The ideational meta function is stratified into experiential and logical meta function. Ideational metaphor is created through grammatical process of normalization. In this way, a verb or an adjective is converted to a noun. According to Halliday and Mathiasen, 2014, nominalization is the most powerful resource to create ideational grammatical metaphor. Therefore, processes which are congruently worded adverbs and properties congruently worded as adjectives are reworded metaphorically as nouns. Instead of functioning in the clause as a process or attribute, they function as thing in the nominal group. The third thing I would like to talk about is meta function in nominalization. Experiential meanings appear objective in scientific reports. As for textual meta function, cohesion regarding their discourse semantics, the textual meanings are clarified with the use of discourse markers. There are signals or cues that point to the important ideas or feature of a text and play a very important role in making the text coherent. They link ideas together. Texts which are produced in this mode realize conjunction as semantic relations between processes involving normalization. In the following example, A, after our tour of the ring, we just wait. And B, our tour of the ring is prior to our wait. And C, our tour of the ring is the antecedent of our wait. As we can see, the connector after in sentence C is semantically and formally changed, normalized into antecedent. The fourth thing is the process of normalization. Normalization is a process in which non-nominal structure elements are changed into nominal elements. As normalization was seen a major resort to create metaphorical realizations of semantic categories in pieces of academic writing, according to a view from the systemic functional linguistics. The language learners are aware of using normalization as a means of packing information, contribute to improving their academic written work. The systemic functional perspective on normalizations is very closely related to the concept of grammatical metaphor to create metaphorical rather than congruent lexical grammatical realization of semantic categories, according to Hayfayet 2003. The process of grammatical metaphor leads to content plane derived structures with many levels of interpretation, as in the following example. As you can see in example D and E, Jack was unhappy, so Jill left. This is congruent. And in sentence E, Jack's unhappiness led to Jill's departure. This is metaphorical. Sentence E uses normalization. This is the evolution of writing in English, while sentence D is the congruent structure used in spoken English. All these things are reflected in aspects of meta functions. They are interpersonal, experiential, and textual in the systemic functional theory. Now we go to the methodology. In this part, talk about normalization in information packaging. In written English, relatively few clauses per sentence are used. This can be done by packing the text by turning verbs into nouns to increase the lexical density, according to Atkins 2004. Therefore, the normalization becomes a grammatical metaphor in which the meanings are congruently realized by other language patterns. This leads to the process of information packaging. The survey of 1,000 English new texts in my paper using the classifier to identify nouns and normalization in these texts show the number of nouns and normalization in use that follow. As can be seen from 1,000 new texts, out of total number of 402,393 words, the number of nouns is 135,130, accounting for 33.5%, whereas the number of normalizations is 39,649, accounting for 9.8%. It can be seen that the normalized metaphorical variants help writer to achieve lexical economy, and at the same time pack as much information as required in the nominal groups. This makes new texts exhibit unique characteristics of textual discourse. Normalization therefore shows evidence of high literacy, a powerful and authoritative use of English language that conform to the generic and schematic structure of new texts. Ideational metaphor using normalization is therefore recommended to making the news writing to be densely packaged with low word count and at the same time present an intellectually highly rated discourse. Typically, news text can be analyzed, finding out the distribution of nominal groups being the process of information packaging. This is a result and discussion part. With a noun or a noun phrase working as a team, the reference nouns can be co-referenced with a noun or with a noun phrase working as a rhyme in the previous sentence. The team noun can be the synonym to the head noun, which is the superordinate identified by the determiner, With a noun or noun phrase working as a newness, the referent nouns, when replacing a predicate of a sentence, can be a generalization noun, used to show the concept, effect, an event, a state, or a quality. If a co-referent noun is used alternatively in a new text, then that noun or noun phrase will become a reference determined by reference factors to perform the function of newness. As we can see in New English New Text, normalization used as theme or newness using reference can work out the thematic cohesion and the content distribution. Experiential and logical meaning depend on each other. This can be shown in the following extract of a new text. We can see experiential and logical meaning depend on each other, as can be shown in the following extract of an English news text. Japan revised upward its economic growth data for October-December quarter, confirming that the economy expanded at a surprising strong pace during the period. The government said yesterday that gross domestic product, the widest measure of economic activity, grew 1.3% in the fourth quarter, or an annualized rate of 5.5%. The figure was even higher than the robust quarterly growth of 1.2% or 4.8% annualized, released last month as a preliminary result. The upward revision was due to primarily to stronger than expected capital spending. Corporate expenditure on plant and equipment grew 3.1% from the third quarter, higher than 2.2% increase in the earlier announcement. Another contributor was public sector investment, which increased 3.7% higher than 2.7% increase announced previously. This is the extract from the Wall Street Journal, March 13, 2007. So the phrase upward revision become a theme in the phrase stronger than expected capital spending, become newness. The phrase had become normalized with the verbs and the preposition due to the logical meaning. With the nominalization use and newness, experience should become complex process. However, the popular form of experiential metaphor relate to action, and quality can be seen in the above paragraph. The function of metaphorical quality and action function in the packaging experiential meaning for the realization of newness. Therefore, the grammatical metaphor is a process of referencing, specifically the phrase a surprising strong pace is realized from quickly or concurrently become quick. The normalization growth is packed from the verb grow in the noun phrase upward revision is packed from the verb to revise, and now the increase from to increase or to rise. This is the process of realizing grammatical metaphor and normalizing. The last part is the conclusion. In a new text, using grammatical metaphor as information packaging, there is a remapping between semantics and lexical grammar. It is a remapping between strings, rhetoric meaning, and constituents in semantics and syntax, such as complex clauses, and phrases. In a metaphorical discourse, a series of mappings are partially recapitulated when lexical strings are realized as clauses and semantics is realized as phrase or words. Grammatical metaphor, in other words, are narrow self-categorized transition. In particular, the experiential metaphor is a normalization process. Normalization is a form of changing the rhetorical meaning and meaning of speech beyond a clause. Normalization in English is a series of transformations in the form of words themselves, either in primary without suffixes or in addition of suffixes. The process of normalization is packaging of information. The use of grammatical metaphors as information packaging to normalization is more often used to make the writing become simpler and clearer in terms of grammatical structures. It also contributes to bettering the writing style. The purpose of analyzing a text is to explain why the text is meaningful as it should be, and why it has particular impression. Grammatical metaphor through use of normalization used in the language and mass media by which a speaker or writer arrives at some point or newness regarding his or her expression in a news text. Future research will try to carry out more investigation and meta function in evaluations of the writer to help the mass media out of the bias, leading to successful communication economically and culturally. So these are my references. Thank you very much for your attention.